Jack lived with his mum and they had a cow. We've run out of money. What shall we do now? Jack took the cow to the market to sell. One cow for sale, including the bell. She's the finest cow I've ever seen. I'll swap you for this big shiny bean. A cow for a bean? Is this a trick? No, whispered the man. This bean is magic. Now, you don't have to tell the story in one sitting. You can break the story down and keep adding to it in each session. Here's how. So that was our opening paragraph to Jack and the Beanstalk, and it provided you with a few options for story props. We had the cow, the money, and my favourite, the bell. If you're working in an educational setting, it could be that Jack and the Beanstalk is your story for the next half term or term, and you could break the story down even further and explore cows in your session. Now, I used the talking tile. It was a wonderful opportunity to explore cause and effect. Can the Story Explorer communicate a request to listen to the cow mooing again? Can they press the button to activate the sound? Record their voice, play it back to them. You may wish to use a puppet or a toy. And I've made this a little bit more interesting. I've stuffed some lavender straw and dried grass into the body of this cow, so it's very sensory. Some activities you may wish to engage in relating to cows are food tasting. This could be dairy food tasting or non-dairy, make some oat milk, compare the two. You may wish to taste cheeses, make milkshakes, smoothies or milk lollies. Engage in scientific investigation, make ice cream in a bag, excellent for those fine motor skills. Engage in a colour changing experiment with milk. I've made a little sensory cow here. His skin is made of fake chamois leather. The pink paint has had a few drops of strawberry food flavouring added, so it smells like a strawberry milkshake. He's got a googly eye, and I put some dried rosemary and edible flowers, which make it smell divine. You could make a black and white themed sensory bin, or you could have a field trip and have a visit to an ice cream farm or a real farm where you can get close up with a cow. Jack took his cow to the market to sell, and this is a wonderful opportunity to work on your money skills. Now, children love shiny coins, and I've transformed these dull brown coppers into shiny coins by mixing a small amount of salt and vinegar and leaving the coins for a minute. Now, it's often easier to teach individuals to count by posting them into a tin, and they can count the sound the coin makes as it hits the bottom of the tin rather than the coin itself. 1, 2, 3. Your students might have some individual targets that you can tie into these activities. On a more sensory level, I have my favourites, the chocolate coins. You could work on exchanging items with the student, or independent skills. Can the students peel the foil off the coins? And I was thrilled to find these edible notes. They're so colourful. You could work on your colours, and of course you can eat them. Jack's cow had a bell. And you could explore lots of different types of bells with your students. Can they track the sound? Experiment with different volumes. The student show a preference for a particular bell. One way of making this activity a little more interesting is to use a sensory bag, and I filled my bag full of bells. And I've chosen this bag because it's wonderfully tactile and reminds me of a Highland cow. Invite the sensory explorer to place their hand inside the bag and select a bell to explore. Now you may be wondering, other than promoting listening skills, why explore a bag of bells? Well, bells and alarms are present in our everyday lives. Take a walk down the high street, you have pedestrian crossings, sirens, you have bicycle bells. Into the supermarket, the ring of the tannoy, the checkouts, shops even have alarm bells as you walk in and out of them. Back in the home you've got alarm clocks, telephone notification messages, microwaves pinging, fire alarms, smoke alarms. So it could be that your little bag of bells could be your new best friend. Because working on desensitizing and building tolerance to these sounds through our bells can help individuals when they are out in the street and they hear these noises. Jack ran home and gave the ground a quick hoe, planted the seed and hoped it would grow. Jack gave the bean water to keep it alive and gave the bean light so it would thrive. Now these activities are fantastic for teaching about plant life cycles. You could explore the soil, how crumbly the soil is, and how when you add water to the soil it becomes denser and has that lovely earthy smell. Fine motor skills, pouring using a jug or using the fingers to activate the trigger on a water sprayer. When looking with light, I've got a simple cause and effect button on off for the torch. I love this wind up torch. Makes a fantastic noise and great for fine motor skills. And I just want to show off by showing you what I found in the charity shop yesterday for 50 pence. And that was a hand pump torch in the shape of a cow. Now another activity that you could do with this is when you've poured the water onto your soil, have a look using a magnifying glass and you'll be able to see as the water soaks through and listen to the noise it makes as the bubbles go through the air in the soil. The very next day, to Jack's surprise, a tall leafy beanstalk rose to the skies. Jack heard music play. So he climbed up the crop, through the white clouds and up to the top. I used some leafy foliage for my beanstalk. An alternative is to use stacking cups, building fine motor skills. You could also work on colours. As your story explorer places one cup on top of the other to build their beanstalk. Red, white, blue, green, black, yellow. The first thing Jack saw was a feathery hen. He followed it into a castle and then, with one loud cluck, it laid an egg of gold. Jack stole the egg. He was feeling bold. Now, I've used my wonderful feather boa because it's so tactile to represent my hen. If you don't have a feather boa, you could explore feathers. Promote language and communication skills. Can a sensory explorer pick out the yellow feathers? On a more sensory level, the feathers are beautiful when stroked on the hand or the face. Feel the barb and observe how the downy feathers move as they're blown gently. As for my eggs, I have a hard-boiled egg, so you could crack open that shell to reveal the rubbery white innard and that soft yolk inside. Would the story explorer like to try some of the egg? Be allergy aware. You could have a chocolate egg, or I found this little shaker, and that's a wonderful opportunity again to explore cause and effect. Can the story explorer copy a rhythm? I thought this little colour changing story cube was interesting for when Jack goes up the beanstalk. I'm not sure if you can pick it up, how it's changing different colours, and that demonstrates an air of magic as he enters the castle, which of course I used some blocks. Again, we could count as we added each layer to our castle. We could make a colour pattern, green, blue, green, blue. Once again promoting those fine motor skills. Jack heard heavy footsteps of a giant man. He scooped up the hen and off he ran. Fi Fo Fum. Jack's heart was beating like a drum. So my footsteps, I used some little shoes. Could place them on the table or on the floor. Can the story explorer copy your actions and make the shoes make a noise? Can they stamp their feet to replicate the giant coming towards him? He scooped up the hen again. That was my feather boa. Or it could be this fun little guy that makes a squeal and his face looks so shocked as he swept off. The drum, these hand drums are lovely and easy for individuals to hold. Or you could use a big drum. Can the story explorer copy your beat? Jack ran down the beanstalk as fast as he could and picked up the axe that he used to chop wood. He started to chop and the giant cried, "Stop! Don't chop it down, wait for me. What's at the bottom? I've always wanted to see." So my foliage shook as Jack ran down that beanstalk. And I thought these two wooden spoons make a fantastic chopping noise. Can the story explorer copy a beat? And the magnifying glass. It's just so much fun. And you could even explore the delicate little veins on the leaves. Jack put down the axe and the giant climbed down. He was astonished to see a very small town. That was exciting, Jack said with glee, and invited the giant for a nice cup of tea. Wonderful opportunity to end the story with some small world play. I've got my little school bus and my aeroplane. And my pot of tea, you could use herbal tea bags. This is a minty flavoured tea bag, very refreshing. And in my teapot, I put some rose tea, and it's got miniature rose petals and smells divine. So I think I'll go and join Jack and the Giant with a nice pot of tea. Thank you for joining me with my story, Jack and the Beanstalk. I hope you enjoyed it. For more sensory ideas and inspiration and free resources, head over to the website www.rhymingmultisensorystories.com. You can subscribe to the newsletter and receive regular updates and a monthly teaching calendar full of ideas. Your questions, queries, comments and feedback are always welcome. Don't hesitate to get in touch. Goodbye.